Hello and welcome to this spoiler review of The Batman. I'm Josh.
I'm Bill. Well, I have to start by saying that I have a list in my head of what the top Batman films and the top Batman actors are. And this is definitely in my top three on both respects. I love the fact that it's a little darker. It's kind of getting away from, it's not quite Tim Burton. It's not quite Batman v Superman. You know, it's kind of its own thing, which I think is good. A little more grounded in reality, kind of like the Nolan films were. And Robert Pattinson, my God, he did a tremendous job as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he did.
I have nothing bad to say about the film, really. The cast was great. I was just blown away by it. I was very, very satisfied leaving the theater.
Nice. Fist in the air, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. And I think it was just the right length of time for the film, too.
Yeah, it didn't feel too long to you?
I didn't think so. The length of it kind of put me off at first. But I think that if it would have been any shorter or any longer, the movie would have lost a lot of what it had going for it. It does take a lot of time to kind of build up the story, which I think is good. Batman's more of a detective in this, which I love. You kind of get that feel of, you know, Batman being more of like an analytical, kind of forensic detective kind of thing,
right,
in this. And that's what I always liked about like the animated series, for example, is that he wasn't just a superhero standing there with his, you know, hands on his hips declaring, "I'm here to save the day." You know, it was that was really cool to see in this. And honestly, I think it was a little more grounded in reality than even the Nolan films were.
I agree.
Now, this is Batman during his second year of being Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he doesn't have, you know, military grade hardware that's just given to him and overseen by Morgan Freeman. It's a lot of the tech that he uses, with one or two exceptions, looks like stuff he picked up from Radio Shack and just put together himself.
Yeah.
So it's very cool, very well done, and I can't recommend it enough. It's probably absolutely one of my favorite Batman films.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's definitely, like, what's crazy is there's a debate now, like, is the Dark Knight better or is the Batman better? And I think that's pretty powerful to question that, you know.
Yeah. See, so when I talk about my list of, like, you know, my top 3, top 5, whatever, that was a very hard decision for me,
mm-hmm.
because the original, you know, 1989 Batman from Tim Burton, my all-time favorite, right?
Yeah.
My second has always been The Dark Knight, and I hate to say that this one is third because it makes it sound like it's worse than The Dark Knight, but it's a very, very, like, close tie.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good things about both films, and there's really, like, the only reason that like The Dark Knight, I'm not like absolutely one way or the other that it's better, is because there's things that I loved about that film that will stand the test of time no matter what.
Of course.
The only thing that ever took me out of that film was Bale and his stupid voice. Like how it just got worse and worse throughout the film. But that's more of a nitpick than a, like, oh God, I hate it because of this.
Right. Yeah, it definitely hasn't aged well, I don't think.
Yeah.
But some people like that. I don't. I think it was very Clint Eastwood, you know.
Yeah. And maybe he just needed a Ludens by the end of it. I don't know. Or Ricola or something.
Yeah. Joker should have flicked one in his mouth.
Yeah. But my God, is it it's not a film to sell toys. It's not a film to take your kids to.
No.
by any means. It is PG-13. I know it probably was very, very close to being an R.
Yeah. Well, in fact, in the UK, it is R pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is nuts, but yeah, it is crazy. I guess we got lucky.
But man, I want to say this is the definitive Batman. If you want to see a Batman at the beginning of his career, it does that a hell of a lot better than the Nolan films did.
Right, of course.
And the good thing about this is they don't rehash the Thomas and Martha getting killed thing.
Right.
That was one thing Matt Reeves said, no, we don't need to go back to that. People have seen that a million times. And they reference it. I mean, of course, it's
which is fine.
In the film. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, we don't need to see them getting shot in the alley and young Bruce crying his eyes out over it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Uncle Ben in Spider-Man. Like, we don't need to see that again. We know it.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows the Batman knows his, parents are dead.
Exactly.
That's like his whole thing. I'll start with the thing that really kind of blew my mind at first, and that's the fact that Batman is working somewhat reluctantly, but working very closely with the police.
Yeah, that's so different, isn't it?
Normally, you see him kind of working in the shadows with Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
And him kind of just being like, giving him nudges in the right direction kind of thing.
Yeah.
This one, he full on shows up to the crime scene.
Yeah.
And is analyzing everything and it, helping them kind of piece it together and solve the riddle. No pun intended. I mean, that part was very well done. I thought that was cool. And Jeffrey Wright, my God, what a phenomenal casting choice for Jim Gordon.
Oh yeah. Natural. Just,
he was just, he didn't like steal the scene from Batman, but they worked in tandem so well.
They did, yeah, very well. Good chemistry, like a lot of great chemistry in this film. The casting was done very well. Yeah, I like how it's not really said in many words, but you can tell the cops aren't 100% on board with him coming into the crime scene and all that. They're still trying to understand. Right. And then, of course, the acting commissioner, he was not happy with.
Yes, Pete Savage is kind of a different commissioner from what we've seen. He's not, Jeff Loeb or anything like that. I think he was kind of the way that it was written is he was kind of a mix of a couple different ones from the comics.
Yeah.
It was right on. It was like, Gordon, what are you doing? This is a crime scene. Get him out of here. He's a freak, blah, blah, blah. Man, just the most practical Batman I've ever seen on film.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love how he had the contact to record everything, so he could go back to his back computer and analyze the shit out of it and then print things out, which was badass because, he can't take the cards because it's evidence. So, yeah, I'll just make a copy.
That was so cool. Like, he can just record everything that he sees and, go back and review it later. That was really well done how they did that.
Yeah, it's very smart. Very smart. Yeah.
So, I do want to talk about the suit real quick.
Sure.
I know we've analyzed the shit out of the suit leading up to this movie. But wow, just how practically done it was. It's very much tactical.
Yes.
And, he doesn't have like some guy in the shadows like, oh, hey, my company produced all this tech that's just sitting there.
Right.
Hey, paint it black and give it to me.
Yeah.
The suit itself is very practical. It's very much a tactical suit. He forgoes the utility belt for a pair of gauntlets that have like his grappling hooks in it. I think there was even a blade that popped out of it at one point.
Yeah, that was badass.
Had like tasers in his gloves.
Yep.
That part was really cool to me. Just to see all that.
It's all functional. It felt like, even though I'm sure it wasn't, but obviously it's a movie, but yeah, it felt real. It didn't feel ridiculous,
Yeah, it definitely didn't. It definitely was grounded in reality, I think. The only thing with his tech was the contact thing. I was like, okay, how did you put that together?
Yeah, that was probably Wayne Tech there, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So there's no manner in this one. He lives in Wayne Tower.
Right, which
makes a lot more sense.
You think so?
I think it makes a lot more sense. I mean, like, just me being the analytical person I am.
Right.
Of course, they're going to notice some big giant car with a flame coming out of it going up into the hills towards Wayne Manor.
True.
Somebody's really thinking about it. Like, I wonder who Batman is. But that was really cool. It was kind of like he goes like through some secret tunnels and like,
downstairs,
takes the elevator up and
on his bike.
Like,
it's very rugged. Yeah. It plays into the Riddler, what he said of Bruce Wayne when Batman and Riddler finally meet in that confession room, how, Bruce is like, well, I don't know if he said it, but it's always known that Bruce is the Prince of Gotham. So what better, I guess, analogy? Is that the right word? Like he's up on this high tower looking down on Gotham versus
he's in the tallest, the highest room of his castle overlooking the kingdom.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's exactly what they were going for. Yeah. I didn't, like anything new they did in this film, it didn't make me mad at all. Really, it didn't. It was more of like, oh, I never thought of that being, that way. And not to say the manor doesn't exist. It could exist and they just choose not to, live in it or whatever. But yeah, I thought that was super interesting. And it felt like it was like he was fighting crime. I don't know, either in the newer part of Gotham or the older part. And then he Wayne Tower feels like it's on the outskirts, like it's an abandoned city. I don't know. I don't know if you got that vibe, but as he, went towards it, it just felt like not a lot of activity around it, kind of forgotten. I don't know. Perhaps that's something I should see for the third time. Pick up on.
I'm kind of jealous that you've seen it twice. I definitely want to go see it again before it leaves theaters.
Sure.
I am happy that they decided to make this a theater exclusive and not put it on
very smart
HBO Max.
Yes,
like they did with The Matrix.
Yes,
which I don't know. Whatever. That's a whole other thing.
I think they've learned from their mistakes. I hope anyway. And Disney too. And it's like just let these movies out, exclusively, and then the 45-day window, throw them onto your streaming platforms, I guess. But this was quite an experience. It definitely it was I think it was up there with Spider-Man to me, like the hype and everything, and it might have even been greater, I would say, because I'm a Batman fan. But they showed those clips, man, and that just got me. I kind of wish they didn't show so many clips because you kind of knew where it was going. That's my only complaint. Outside of the clips, I wouldn't have known. But they showed the freaking Riddler when they arrest him, how he turns, and it's like I knew that was coming, how that was going to be, and certain other things, like the Batmobile chase. Saw that clip. Which that was one of the clips that really made me like, okay, I gotta get some tickets. Like I was gonna get tickets, I just held off for some reason, and I kept seeing those clips and him ramping up the Batmobile and I was like, I gotta go see this. This looks awesome. Super excited about it. But I wanted to go back a little bit real quick to the crime scene. I noticed that. He's analyzing everything with his, we didn't, I think, know at the time he had that contact in recording everything. But I thought it was super interesting to see him being recorded on a smartphone by, I think, one of the officers. It's like Batman really is not being as mysterious as we've, known him to be. And this is year 2 Batman, so who knows? He'll probably get more mysterious, I guess, as it goes, unless they do something totally different, which they could.
That part of it was pretty cool to me, because the Nolan films, they make Batman seem like kind of an urban legend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he's always watching, but he's never quite there. And Batman's more of the main character in this story, where he's just out there. He's like, I want to help.
Yes.
I don't really care who sees me. It's nothing like super mysterious, but
yeah, he's very careless. Like he's just trying to fight crime basically. And, Andy Serkis's Alfred, has the same conversation that, Michael Caine's Alfred had with Bale, how you need to preserve your name, your family name. And, both Waynes are like, I don't care about my family. And it's like, well, you need to. Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Well, and he played Bruce Wayne as like a reclusive rock star kind of thing. He took some cues from Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
Where he kind of like, he didn't want the fame. He didn't want to be recognized. He didn't want that, like, I'm just another guy.
Yep.
Kind of thing, And you definitely see that, like he's in this huge ornate tower with, all this Gothic architecture around him. And
right.
It very much looks like he's, kind of reminded me of like the castle from Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Like oh yeah. If Tim Burton would have ran with this film, holy shit, it would have been so Gothic.
Yeah.
Dripping with Gothic.
But like it kind of hasn't caught up to the times a little bit.
Right. Yeah. It's stuck 20 years in the past, maybe you could say, because in this movie, it's I think how long the Waynes have been gone, 20 years, which is like basically when everything went to shit because of the Thomas Wayne bill.
Essentially, what it was is they were wanting to put money into orphanages, and that's kind of how we get, kind of backhandedly, how we got introduced into the Riddler.
Yes,
because he was part of that, and then he just kind of got forgotten. So he very much decides to be like kind of the rise up kind of figure, and kind of gain this like cult following. But I really love the way they did him in this movie. He's not wearing some bright green 3-piece suit. They took a lot of inspiration from the Zodiac Killer, which is really
for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
How they did that. He was very much like I'm doing this because I feel like this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And, nobody's going to stop me kind of thing. Very much, which I think is the perfect way to do a villain. Villains aren't always the people who are twirling their mustache and stroking a cat. They're
right.
People who think what they're doing is right, no matter how wrong it may be. So that was really cool to see that take on the Riddler. I absolutely love that.
Well, and could you say the Batman inspired him to be the Riddler?
I think that very much was the case.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, you've been doing good fighting crime, but you're creating villains at the same time. Which is, that's how Batman is.
Well, kind of towards the end, too, you get that feeling like he was expecting Batman to just, like, say, my God, there's another person just like me. You're right. Let's join forces.
Right.
Batman has to do the right thing. And
they kind of joined forces because he brought Falcone into the light. So
yeah. That was... Man, I was surprised to see John Turturro in this.
Dude, I didn't great.
I guess I didn't do a whole lot of research on the cast. I mean, I knew Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and Colin Farrell.
Yes.
That was about, what I knew. And Andy Serkis, of course, which, my God, what a phenomenal Alfred he made.
He was, yeah, very interesting. Like, I think they definitely did the MI5 take, how I think the new comics treat Alfred. He's seen shit. Yeah. He's kind of like a retired 007 in a way. Because the butler thing gets old, right? And it's like, well, how can this guy feed him and help him build this shit? So.
Which they kind of did that in Gotham, the TV series.
Yes,
as well.
Yep.
Like and they kind of reference that a little bit in the movie. Like he trained Bruce how to fight.
Yes,
and Bruce is very much, it's not like he takes off the suit and all of a sudden he's in a tuxedo and is completely clean and everything like that. Like they very much made him look very practical when he takes the suit off. He's got the grease paint on his eyes, and
you
can see it like pouring down his face, like from the sweat. It's really cool how they did that.
Other films try to hide that. They try to make it, like it is kind of a stupid illusion because it doesn't make sense. Like, I think they always try to make it the mask has that coverage in there, but clearly it's like, well, that's like material that couldn't be exactly on his eyes, his eyelids like that and stuff. So it's like they always shied away from that,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't recall.
How do you explain it being black when he blinks?
Right. Well, one of the worst takes. I mean, we're going back here. Batman Returns, when he takes his, it always bothered me as a kid. Some guy actually online fixed this scene, but when he reveals himself to Catwoman, Selena Kyle at the end, there's
how he has like no makeup on.
Yes, it's so jarring, and it's like, okay. That was dumb.
It looks like, and when Keaton does that in Batman Returns, it looks like he just came out of the shower.
Oh,
like his hair is perfect. You know, he's got, like Robert Pattinson, when he takes off the cowl.
Oh, he's sweaty. Yeah.
In the Batman, he's sweaty.
Mm.
You can tell he's been like out all night fighting crime.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious he was just wearing a leather mask or whatever.
Right.
But wow, they did a lot of things in here that made it look like he was literally just a guy in a suit.
Yeah, they took a lot of chances.
And I think that paid off a lot. It's a big risk to take. But
Matt Reeves orchestrated this very well because, it could easily, the whole Kurt Cobain, you think of the grunge, and I guess Pattinson even had ideas to go further into him being that type of person, which I'm glad they didn't. I think it was just the right amount of grunge or goth for him to be. He still looked like he could fit into society when he went to the funeral,
The whole premise of this is that the Riddler, I want to talk about the funeral part because that was kind of cool.
It was.
Especially because that's like our first showing of Bruce Wayne in public. And you get the feeling like nobody's seen him in years, kind of thing.
Mm.
Like he came down from his ivory tower to be amongst the commoners.
Yes.
So the whole premise with like the Riddler is he's going around and killing all these people that have, influence in Gotham that are corrupt, basically. And he's trying to like shine a light on them and be like, this is the real problem with Gotham. You guys need to wake up.
Right.
So he's going to a funeral for I believe it's for the commissioner.
It's for the mayor that gets killed in the beginning of the film.
For the mayor. Yep, that's correct. For the mayor, which I thought that opening scene, for a split second thought that was going to be Bruce Wayne.
Oh, you did? Wow, that would have been something.
And I heard, like, when I heard the heavy breathing and stuff like that, it's like, oh, it's got to be the Riddler.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he's going to be connected to Bruce Wayne and all that.
I definitely was afraid of the brother thing. They've already touched on that with the Joker. I'm like, they should not go back to this well. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But they're kind of cut from the same cloth in so many ways, but not so many ways, I guess. But Riddler's first reveal in the film is scary as hell, I think, when the mayor gets a call. Definitely. And he's been here the whole time. Like, maybe that's why I spotted the second time. I could see the outline of the Riddler a little bit more behind the guy before he left. And then there was a reveal. But man, that was, and he's.
The lighting on that was perfect because you could just see like the reflection of the glasses.
Yeah. Yep.
And like nothing else. That
and
was
his eyes moving.
The lenses. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so cool.
And they actually, someone pinpointed that those glasses are almost identical to the glasses Jim Carrey's Riddler wore when he was just a scientist or whatever in Wayne Tower. The clear glasses. Yeah. So I don't know if that was like a intentional nod or not, or just accidental probably, but still, very noticeable.
I like how he incorporated that into his uniform or his costume or whatever you want to call it too. Like, obviously he can't see without the glasses, so he's going to wear them over his suit.
Yeah.
Or over his mask or whatever. So that was kind of cool.
I heard he did that duct tape scene like 200 takes just to get it right. How he just whips the duct tape up and looks at it, like a film strip. Like, I heard he did that like 200 times.
And my God, Paul Dano, like...
Oh, dude, he can play creep. Yep.
He has the look of, like, being a kind of a creepy dude anyway.
Yeah, he does.
Like, the kind of guy that, like, has lamps in his house that are made out of human skin or something.
Right, yeah.
But, wow, he was just spot on. It was so good. but yeah, I loved all the little like nuances he did, like the tearing of the duct tape and just everything where he was
Yeah, it was all
playing the
designed
Riddler and all that.
very well. Yep.
It was very carefully crafted.
Yes.
So I love that part of him. And then of course, when we see Bruce Wayne at the funeral, he very much has that like kind of almost a germaphobe kind of thing to him. Like he's he's dressed up, his like hair's kind of in his face. He's like, "Don't touch me." It's kind of like the the like quiet goth kid. He's like, "No, leave me alone." But you saw, I mean, you still see like he doesn't come right out and say it, which I think just speaks to Robert Pattinson's acting ability.
Yeah.
Just like the way he looked at the kid of the mayor.
Yeah, and as Batman, yeah. So you got that,
and and he's like, "Oh man, another orphan, like just like me," kind of thing.
Right? It's like he's looking in the mirror. Yeah, it's like that's me.
So that was very well done, I thought.
He was only there to see if the Riddler was going to do something. That's the only reason why he showed up. He wasn't there to like just make appearances. Yes. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have been there. He's like, well, this guy's going to make another move, and I got to go in person.
And the way they did that too, when he's up and when they show the Riddler up in the balcony, and you can't see anything but the glasses.
Yes,
really, like his whole face is just silhouetted.
It was shot very well.
That was so well done. Like the way they shot everything in this, the lighting, all that was just superb. The biggest surprise for me was Colin Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the biggest surprise. We'll get to that here, but
it's because he's fat, right? He's the biggest surprise. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, it's
no, I'm kidding. It's
like you can tell it's Colin Farrell just with his facial mannerisms, but to see him done up like the Penguin,
yeah.
I love how they did the Penguin in this because it reminds me so much of the Arkham games, where he's not like, he's not half man, half bird or whatever.
Yeah, I never liked that.
They did for Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
he's he's just very much like he's all scarred up and kind of rough looking, and he's got that very much that gangster kind of swagger to him.
Right. Yep.
Which I absolutely loved that. I thought he was going to have kind of a bigger role in this, but I'm glad that he was kind of a little bit of a background character.
Sure.
Because, I mean, you've got so many good actors in this movie. You don't want to overshadow anybody.
Oh, no, yeah, it was done just right.
I didn't think Colin Farrell was going to do that at all, but,
Right.
I thought Penguin was done very well that way.
Oh, he just kind of disappeared underneath that makeup. Like, I remember when the first trailers came, I was like, who's this actor? I've never seen him before. Then I was like, that's him? Like, oh my God.
It's Colin Farrell. Holy shit.
Because I was like, oh, they're going to go for like kind of a penguin who's in shape, I guess.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't take much inspiration from the other film, the other like, live action penguins.
Yeah.
Which I guess we've only really had two, but
backing up to Batman Returns, that was the first film I saw in public that I was disappointed in when I was leaving, and I was 12. I didn't like how Catwoman got brought back to life, and I didn't like the Penguin, like any of that. I thought it was very grotesque, obviously, but I'm happy when they ground it more in reality. Now, I'll say I have more appreciation for Batman Returns, and it's iconic with its looks and everything. But at that time, that was something totally different from the first Batman. And I know that now because Burton wasn't going to do it unless he could do it his own way. So basically the first one was studio insight. Second one was like, all right, you get free reign. And that's what happened.
The second one was very much a Burton.
Yes.
Burton film.
Yes. But I never dug the Penguin being like, with the disfigurement and all that. He
does a lot which like skirts the line between like reality and paranormal a little bit, like in horror, like body horror and stuff like that. Like he does that in all of his movies.
Right.
When the Riddler's like speaking and stuff like that, the focus is 100% on the Riddler.
Yes.
Which I loved about it because he's like this mysterious guy in the shadows that everyone's trying to catch, and they spend the majority of the movie just trying to figure out his next move.
Yeah, and all the elites are scared to death, like when they're at the club. Getting to the funeral, how that one district attorney gets the bomb around his neck. Like he's there dropping, eye drops, whatever that drug was called. But that was super cool how Batman was like having Catwoman go in there as bait kind of, and to get info, how that was all going down. Like it was like a total like cop undercover operation type of deal. I don't know why I thought it was funny. Maybe I do, but how the district attorney, after he blasts through the funeral, all the people and stuff, and he's just sitting there, and then the bomb squad robot just approaches, and it's just, I don't know why I thought that was funny, but I was like, because it's like, if we're getting the hell away from you, here's this robot,
Yeah, exactly.
And then, the footsteps, that's the other thing about this new Batman is he's pretty much on Front Street. He's not quietly coming. He does sometimes, but he's just stomping into the room. And it's a presence. I mean, it's going back to that first scene with those thugs, which we can get into. But
that was another thing that like really put the exclamation mark on this movie was the orchestra.
Yes,
like that really heavy string orchestra that was going, like every time he would like come into the picture and it would like meet with his footsteps and everything like that. It was so good. First soundtrack in a while. I think I'm going to actually end up going out and buying.
I'm with you. Yeah, I felt that way too. I don't know if you picked up on this. I definitely did the second time for sure. But even the first time, when Batman and Catwoman are together, there's this theme. Their theme, I guess you could say, it is very Batman Returns. If you go back to watch that, I don't know exactly the instrument, but it's like, it really feels like some of the music in this feels like it's reused from other Batmans, but it's different. But I don't know if that's an homage thing or I'm just reading too much into it. But yeah,
I think it's a little more like, I want to say it's a little more of an homage to it. We even talked about that on a previous podcast when the first like 5 seconds of the score that we played on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
We were even talking about that. It had kind of a little bit of a Danny Elfman feel to it, but it wasn't like silly,
right?
And this is very like dark. It's very slow. It's very deliberate, and that's what I love about it. Is that it's just like it kind of sucks you into it. And I saw that. I didn't see it in IMAX, but I saw it in the Dolby Atmos surround sound.
Nice.
So like you really get a feel for like the score and how well that matches up with what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful score. Like the whole soundtrack's really, really great. I really do want to get that.
So.
Yeah,
very much so. We talk about Catwoman for a little bit.
Of course.
That surprised the hell out of me.
Oh, that was the big
biggest,
twist.
No, just Zoe Kravitz.
Like
she did Catwoman.
Right.
And Catwoman herself even is practical in this film.
Yeah, just like a ski mask. Yeah.
It's like basically a ski mask, a whip, a leather onesie, and she uses like her actual nails.
Yeah. Right.
Which is really cool. I kind of like how they did that. But,
good glue.
Yeah. But it was phenomenal casting. I think Zoe Kravitz did a wonderful job.
Yeah, she did. She stole it. I mean, she was. I think we've had. I don't know. What would you rank your Catwoman? I guess movie wise, like she's up there for me.
I would put her at the top.
Yeah,
I'm very confident in putting her at number one. Of course, I mean we really live action wise, we really haven't gotten a lot of Catwoman. We had Eartha Kitt in like the 60s, and she did really well.
Yeah,
I thought too. She's definitely better. I liked her a lot better than Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes,
Michelle Pfeiffer was very much just like
a cat
thrown in there for sex appeal, kind of thing. And
iconic look though. That costume's still iconic.
Oh, yeah, definitely the like stitched up leather. That's so cool.
And it just as she progresses in the film, it gets more and more damaged, more stitches put in. Yeah.
But Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman, I think, is probably the closest we've gotten to a comic book Catwoman.
Yeah.
with her relationship with Bruce, where it's like she wants to be together with him, but they know they can never really,
Yes.
have that, until maybe later on. And at the end of it, she references Bloodhaven, which I thought was cool.
Oh, well, yeah. What is that? I think I missed it.
That's basically the town where Nightwing operates.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Well, eventually, I guess.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Will eventually. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is year 2 Batman, not year
right.
10. But I love when they do little Easter egg things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Easter eggs to put in this film with all the comics and even films we've seen. For instance, you got I think it's the Shakespeare statue in the study. Alfred's sitting by. That's a nod to 66 Batman, I believe.
They always try to like throw that in there in like his office or his study or something like that, which I think is cool.
To compare the Batman and the Dark Knight together, I think it's right to rank the Dark Knight over the Batman because you needed the Dark Knight to get to the Batman, in my opinion. I think you really needed all these Batmans to get to, I think that's the idea is like, as they learn from mistakes, learn what works, learn what doesn't work, they're able to redefine it, and it finally makes it into a product where it's like, yes, you've nailed it here. I think all we had in the film verse with Catwoman up until Anne Hathaway was, she was pretty much like a damn cat. Even Halle Berry went way into that, and that's like forgettable, obviously, but Anne Hathaway's was, I liked your Catwoman. I don't think we got too much of her, but I think you needed her to get to Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. You kind of needed that start, I guess, to leap from. And they kind of had similar costumes in a way.
Yeah.
Except the mask part and I did dig the heels from Rises. She had they were like knives for the heels or something. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I liked how they dialed it back for Zoe. I did expect her to eventually get like a better mask, but that didn't happen. But it will happen, I'm sure. And the goggles, I'd love to see the goggles come into play down the road. A lot of good fan art out there, but it was nice to see her break into places, and she was able to be sneaky, a cat burglar, but also a badass with fighting. Like their fight scene was great. How she's just going crazy, just kicking them and stuff. And like the fight, that's one thing in this film that's, I think, the best we've seen. Maybe Snyder started it probably, but the fight scenes just felt so real, right? Yeah. Because Nolan's were so up close, you didn't really get to see all the details. This one's like just, brutal.
Batman v Superman, like when he breaks into the the warehouse and is fighting all the thugs and stuff like that.
That was awesome.
That was like, to me, like how Batman should move.
Yes.
Because he's very like deliberate and brutal with his attacks.
Right.
And what's cool about this is that like they, Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, like leading up to the film and even during filming and everything like that, they constantly worked on that choreography.
Yes.
So, and that definitely shines through. Like my absolute favorite, like, fuck yeah moment of the movie is when he's in Falcone's office and the hallway is just absolutely dark and they're shooting at him and he's, like blocking them and fighting them and everything like that. And you get like little flashes of the fights and stuff like that. Like that was phenomenally done. And even the opening fight scene in the train station.
Oh, geez, that was intense.
Thugs and stuff. That was cool.
I liked how he was like, I liked his whole, would you say voiceover? Would you say monologue? How it's like, it's a diary for Batman. He's like, cause he even dates it. He even dates it. It's like October 31st.
I do like that.
Yeah, I do too.
It kind of gave me Rorschach vibes. A little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. Sure. Yep.
So that part was cool because it was, they're not just dumping us into it and like trying to figure out, okay, where does this fit in Batman's story? So that part was pretty cool to me. It didn't really take me out of it too much.
No.
Not like Toby's narration in Spider-Man. Like, that was just like, oh God, shut up and
Who
punch
am I?
somebody.
I'm Spider-Man.
Like we fucking know, dude. Stop monologuing.
I just love how Bruce calls it the Gotham Project because he was filling out. That's another thing when he comes back to the cave or manor or whatever. He's takes the mask off and he's like writing. He's actually just writing, not typing. He's writing his journal, and and he closes it. It's like Batman Project #2 or something like that, or year 2 or whatever. I thought that was really cool because it is. It pretty much is the Gotham Project. I liked how in the beginning when he was talking about he's got to choose wisely on who to
pick his.
Yes.
Yeah. He's very tactical about picking his targets and where he strikes because he even says like I can't be everywhere at once. Like Gotham needs a lot of help.
Right, which the signal helps. The signal helps that because it's like it's a warning, and you see the other thugs like you don't know who's. Well, that's the other thing from the trailers and stuff. You knew who he was going to go after, but you still had like those other 2 people. You know, the robber and the kids were spray painting, whatever. It was just cool how it played into, they saw the signal and they just started getting paranoid and, the spray can rolls into that dark doorway and the kids just like looking at it and then they flee. Mm-hmm. And then the robber gets hit by a car because he sees the dark alley and he backs off of it. So it's like all that, building up there. And, I
guess in that respect, they did kind of do the urban legend thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of things.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But I thought that was very well done. It's like, which one's he going to go after? Oh, okay, he's going after this.
Well, and
group.
Also, we've talked about how they changed kind of the, and it could be in the comics. Forgive me, I'm not caught up on my comic lore of Batman, but they have changed things. Like, for instance, I didn't know this. Or I don't know if this is new to the film. I'm guessing probably not, just because how many comics have existed. But Martha's maiden name was Arkham. I thought that was really cool. How Riddler set up that video about the Waynes and the Arkhams kind of created the city in a way, and then that Martha had mental problems because her mom killed her father or something like that. I'm trying to remember. But
yeah, I think so.
So they didn't have like a lavish lifestyle, basically. Thomas Wayne kind of went, that was a part I was like really hesitant about. Like he ordered that reporter to be killed, but I guess Alfred said that he didn't mean it. He
had no idea what Falcone was going to do.
Right.
Then again, Falcone was kind of the type of guy that like, oh, I did this for you. Now you owe me big time.
Right.
And they kind of reference that a little bit, like at the funeral, because I guess one night he got shot or something like that. Yep. So he showed up on Bruce Wayne or on Thomas Wayne's doorstep.
Yep. And they operated in the dining table. Yeah.
Yeah. And he kind of references that when he sees Bruce for the first time. And
yeah. That's a good scene.
I mean, you can tell he's got this like very casual manipulation of people. Like he even tells Bruce when he comes to meet with him that Sal Maroni was the one that allegedly killed his parents, and you don't really ever get, you have to kind of fill in the blanks yourself a little bit, because even Alfred says like, I don't know that it was Falcone, but
I'm glad they left it a mystery.
It makes sense that it would have been. Yeah, that's the thing with like that I don't really care for on previous Batman films is they don't need to put, it's like putting a name on the mugger that killed Uncle Ben. Mm-hmm. He's always just been the mugger,
Yeah.
Like you don't need to name him Joe Chill or Jack Napier or whatever.
Yeah, they left it open. Yeah,
that part was kind of cool.
I did like that. Yeah. What did you feel about the whole Arkham Wayne history? Did you think that was interesting?
That was interesting. I did like that. It kind of reminded me of the Batman Telltale series.
Okay, sure.
The video games. Because I saw a lot of parallels between like the first one of those and this movie, but like swap the Riddler for Oswald Cobblepot.
Yes.
Like they were, childhood friends and, whatever, went to college together, and then he ends up having to stop him from doing something stupid or whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I kind of saw like the parallels of that, and that was like very early in Batman's career as well. So I did see some of those kind of parallels with it. But I thought story-wise, everything like that, it made sense, not just like, oh, it's escalation. You're wearing a bat suit, so I'm going to put on clown makeup.
Yes. Just like how Gordon said in Begins. Yep.
Yeah. So that was very well done. Like the whole backstory with the Riddler and his relationship to the Waynes and everything like that. That was
heartbreaking.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's like a boy in the choir when Thomas Wayne announced the Restart Act. I think that's what it was called. Probably in post I'll put in what it was actually called, but it was like his big push, and then he died 2 weeks later or so. Like you do feel for the Riddler because he was an orphan, and just when he's in the confession with Batman talking about how it was too cold and the babies died, like all kinds of like crazy sad shit happened to him, and it just fucked him up, and
also one of the motivations between all these people that end up getting killed and everything like that. Like Thomas Wayne had this huge fund set up.
Yep.
With like billions of dollars in it. And once he died, like everyone kind of wanted their piece of the pie. So
right.
Coney took a piece, and the mayor, and because I think Thomas Wayne in this was running for mayor at the time.
Yes. Too. It was really low key on the Waynes. Like I liked how they handled it. They didn't show him get shot or anything. Like that story. It's kind of surprised they didn't cast I guess I'm not like well-known actors, but I don't know. Maybe they'll pull an Iron Man. They'll recast if explore the Waynes again, like in a flashback or something. It just wasn't. They weren't like big actors who played them. I'm saying. And I guess they haven't always been. Yeah. Let's also talk about at the end where all of a sudden Catwoman's getting choked out by Riddler's wannabes, or what do you call them, henchmen, which all look like him. It's pretty creepy.
That's what made me think that like Bruce Wayne could just like go to any military surplus store and put together the bat suit, because instead of like the bat wings, becoming rigid and being a glider, he has like an actual like cliff diving wingsuit.
Yes,
like that.
And that was terrifying for him and us when he was doing that.
Yeah,
holy shit!
You're gonna hit the bridge.
Yes,
but like even in the side chat when Riddler was doing his live stream, they're like, you can get this exact mask at Gotham Military Surplus or whatever. Yep. It's like, that to me was like, okay, so he's not just some weird kid who's like sitting there stitching this costume together. He went and bought it.
Right, and made it.
It's just like a normal person, Right. So that part was pretty cool. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I dug how he was kind of like the Joker with the video, and he's very serious and everything with his accusations and stuff. And then to his followers, he's like kind of a super nice guy. He's like, I just want to thank everyone for the follows and the recommendations. Yeah. And you can see all the notes about like bring a gun, Eastside Michelle's, things like that.
Like rifles is where it's at. Okay, but what caliber?
Yeah, right.
Like, these people are just like kind of having this incriminating conversation in the live chat.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
That's why I don't stream. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Riddler. He blows up a van at each point in Gotham, or where there's like a well, or not a well, a dam type of thing, and causes a big flooding for their Gotham Square Garden. I think they actually called it Gotham Square Garden. That was funny. But yeah, when Selina is getting killed pretty much by this Riddler wannabe henchman guy, Batman all of a sudden pulls out this green liquid, injects himself, and goes batshit crazy. Beats the guy to a pulp almost. Did you think Venom right away, or just adrenaline?
I didn't think Venom. I think it's too. It would make sense because in the comics, like Bruce Wayne gets addicted to Venom, because of all the injuries and like how hard he's
Yeah.
working and stuff like that. And that's way before Bane's even introduced.
Right.
So it would make sense. I thought a little more adrenaline in that regard, but I don't
dig
really
it though
know.
if it's Venom, because it's like that's very interesting. Like if Bane becomes, a big presence and does damage, he has to like go up against his manufacturer, and he basically has to like say, "I quit. I got to quit this stuff. It's not good for you."
I more thought that it was cool that he had a dedicated like little port
Yeah.
on his
Yep.
on his suit to like pop open just for that syringe.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's exactly where I need to inject it at, which is smart because like, how are you going to feel your exact,
Yeah.
area?
That's
through
true.
all that
Yeah.
shit, but
Yeah. I mean, I think you could take it either or, it's either a nod or it's it's like a clue to what's coming. Like that'll be something they'll go into, the next film or whatnot.
I just don't think they need to. I think they need to stay away from Bane.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts. I mean,
I think they
Tom
still
Hardy's
can. I think
Bane.
it can still be
It's
Venom
so
and
cool,
stay
but-
away from Bane, because it's like, well, there's so much going on in the background. Like perhaps they'll do a Bane series if they decide to bring Bane into it. Like, or they'll just let
Yeah.
it be. Like he has this liquid. We're not really talking about it, but maybe it'll come up in one of the plots for, I think
Yeah.
Reeves wants to do like 2 more films possibly. And then he's got to
Yeah, I
do
think
some
he's on
TV
for 2 more
projects.
at least.
Yeah, he's doing the Arkham series and then the Penguin series. The other question is, other Batman villains, are they going to go into the supernatural, or are they going to stay grounded? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's one in particular they're going to have to do, which we'll get into that in a minute.
Yes.
It's kind of a big reveal at the end. I could see them doing. I've seen. What's his name? Mark Strong.
Yes.
Done up as Mr. Freeze.
Oh, Jesus. Give us that.
So that looked really cool. I think it's like purely concept. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What the background is behind that.
Back in the day, they talked about Patrick Stewart, which would have been great,
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would be
I think
cool.
Mr. Freeze could be done practically. I think Firefly could be done pretty well.
Except Firefly is Batgirl's villain, right? Or not?
Yeah, that's
he's already
cool.
being debuted
Well, he's
with
already
Brendan
going to be in
Fraser.
the Batgirl. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder if they'll...
The one I would love to see done right, but then again we get into all that supernatural kind of stuff is Poison Ivy.
Yes, people have been wanting that for a while.
Poison Ivy would be cool.
Yeah, it's like, are they going to take that leap? Will they go practical or realistic, or will they go a little supernatural? Because Nolan did not do supernatural really at all.
I would love to see like Hush,
Mm-hmm.
some of those other ones.
Which that reporter was a hint to Hush. That reporter who was going to unveil Thomas Wayne, who I thought was going to be Riddler's dad. That's what I thought at first. I'm like, that's why he's mad,
that's what I thought
his
too.
dad got killed.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Oh, he couldn't do Clayface for Man-Bat.
I would love to see Clayface done.
I'd love to see all that.
That'd be kind of fun to
I
do.
think he could. I think he could go supernatural. I don't know. I like the realistic approach, but still, it's cool. I think we've gotten so much realistic though with Nolan, and when we had BVS and Justice League, that was kind of like a breath of fresh air. Like, okay, we're going into this stuff. like Affleck's Bat first would
exist.
Yes. I want Mr. Freeze. Like I heard the pitch was he freezes his victims. I'm like, okay, another serial killer. Like, I guess, but that's going to get kind of tiring, like, I don't know. Like, I want to see a Heart of Ice done. So I
think one they could do that would fit in well after the Riddler would be Professor Pig. He's very much like kind of in that same line of like, if you're going with the serial killer thing, he's very much kind of like a, Ed Gein or something like that. Like, it would be a little more of a practical villain to do.
Yeah, if you wanted, his detective skills to use those, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of a cool one. I really want to see villains that we've never seen before.
I do too, yeah. Mr. Freeze is the exception, though.
Mr. Freeze would be cool to be done. Well, I don't count Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Uh-oh.
One villain that they did tease at the end of it.
Yes.
Riddler, Edward Nashton, whatever you want to call him. He is at the end. When he's seeing his plan kind of fall apart, and Batman saved the day and everything like that. Kind of gets consoled by his person in the cell next to him. Says that's how it is sometimes. Some days you're up, and the other days you're a clown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that didn't give you the biggest hint ever, seeing that big rictus grin through the little porthole for like half a second will probably spoil it for you. Yeah. So he is officially listed as unseen Arkham prisoner, but the Joker makes a cameo appearance at the end. Barry Keoghan, who was in Dunkirk, he played Druig in The Eternals. He's done a few other things. Looking at him without any makeup on, anything like that, I don't really see the Joker, but they did prosthetics for his smile.
Very grotesque, kind of reminded me of Nicholson, his Joker.
Very, very much grotesque, but almost looked like his cheeks were actually the smile was actually cut through his cheeks.
Yeah.
Did you get that at all? It looked like his jaw opened up a little.
Yeah, it looked like
wider than it should
It
have.
it looks like Nicholson's Joker before he gets fixed. Before you see him. I don't know. That's what it reminded me of. And he looked like he almost had kind of a mohawk type of hairstyle. Very clownish looking. I'm hoping they back off a little bit on that. I mean, of course, we didn't see the full face, but like I was telling you before we recorded, maybe it's fresh wounds, from maybe,
it could be.
From everything that was going on in the city. Maybe that's what happened. But who knows? I mean, who knows? They can change it or go for it. I don't know. I'm sure Matt Reeves knows what he's doing.
And I think it would be kind of cool to see them do a live action Killing Joke.
Yes.
Almost. But you also have to realize, Batman Year One, the comic, which this takes a lot of influence from. At the end of Year One, it's kind of like the end of the first Nolan Batman film, where, Commissioner Gordon hands him a card. And he says, I'll look into it, and it has the Joker on it.
Yeah.
So maybe somewhere in between start of Batman's career and the beginning of this movie, he actually ran into the Joker.
Yeah.
Or that was when the Joker was kind of hoodwinked into putting on the Red Hood costume and getting thrown into the acid.
Yeah. I could see that being a cool flashback, how they could open up another movie. This guy's just kind of scared and they're like, put this on, or, I don't know. Or
I could see them doing that, but at the same time, I guess the point I want to make with this is that the same thing, Jon Favreau said with the Iron Man movies, is you can't have Emperor Palpatine in the first movie.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work.
No.
So I would say if we're going to get Joker, it's probably going to be a number 3.
I hope so, actually. Yeah, because getting a lot of Jokers lately.
I don't think you need to throw the Joker in there right away.
No, take your time. Yeah, and maybe they'll hint to it in the Penguin series or the Arkham series even.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. There is a Arkham series coming out too.
It was going to be Gotham PD, and they changed it to Arkham.
Okay.
More Arkham centric, I guess.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
So there's 2 official kind of spin-off series that are happening on HBO Max.
Yeah.
That are
correct.
tied into this. Okay.
Yes. I don't know if the Penguin series is a prequel series or a sequel series, but yeah. I mean, one episode could easily hint at a Red Hood, maybe. Who knows? They could do it in so many ways that that way you don't have to take a lot of time in a movie to dish out. So
I just hope, however they do it, they don't do it like Gotham did, where they were in such a rush to introduce every single villain.
Yeah, well,
years before Batman came around.
And I think they in Gotham, I think they started out to just be centered on like the cops and everything. And then I think with ratings, they're like, well, we got to add more people in here.
Yeah.
But some of it was interesting. I'll say that. But yeah, they just went fully into it. And it's like, okay, Batman's not even here yet.
Yeah. It was a very good show. Don't get me wrong, but it was, yeah, you have to kind of suspend your disbelief with it a little bit because by the time Bruce is old enough to become,
yeah, it's like it's already done.
They're all going to be in their 60s and being pushed around in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I think I liked the first season, but I stopped watching. I just I couldn't get into it, and just it was nice to see Mr. Freeze and all these villains, but yet Batman's not around. It's like, why the hell is Gordon? Gordon's like the one who's fighting these people. So Batman's not going to do shit, really. Anything new, he's going to ask Gordon for help at this point versus the other way around, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what lies ahead for the Reeves films and so on, like how they'll tackle things.
I just hope they keep up the momentum with this one because my God, this is phenomenal.
Yes.
I definitely want to see more of it.
Right.
I think at very least, we'll get a sequel, if not a trilogy out of this.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. We might have to wait a couple years because you'll be working on these other projects.
Oh, it took them. They've been working on this since 2019.
Wow.
Correct?
Yeah, I think so. Because, you had the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yep.
Because I know the first time we saw like the screen test footage or whatever of Pattinson in the suit, I want to say it was quite a while ago.
Yes.
So, yeah, it took... Hopefully not another pandemic will hit us, so that
right. Yeah.
we can get another one out faster. But take your time with it, though. That's all I gotta say is like take your time, make sure it's a good story, and my God, just keep up what you're doing because it's phenomenal. Couple little nitpicks I had about it is that one, why wouldn't you put bulletproof glass on the Batmobile?
Yes.
Which I guess if you are just making a car in your garage, then you're not going to put bulletproof glass on it. But the only other thing was like a line that Selena Kyle said about white privilege that was kind of like, oh, don't make it like this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I was like, it was going so well.
it was just like a brief little thing. That wasn't like her whole motivation was like,
right.
BLM movement or anything like that. So
right.
But yeah, it's like that was the only part of the movie where I thought like they tried to go. It was kind of like they tried to go a little woke, and it was like, you don't need to. But you've got the guy that's working closely with the Batman as a person of color. So
right, yeah, exactly. Yep.
I do want to say too, like he had one of the best lines in the movie where they're going into the asylum or the orphanage. I think it's the orphanage. They're going into the orphanage to find the Riddler's next clue, and Batman says no guns. He's like, that's your thing, man.
Yeah. I like that too. Yeah. He's like, I'm a freaking cop. I got no armor. Like, screw you.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But no, man, just phenomenal cast, phenomenal direction.
Yeah, it was done very well.
Keep it up. That's all I've got to say is just keep it up. It's so freaking good.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. And I liked the ending, how him and Selena, it's kind of like a Western almost. They ride to the edge of town and go their separate ways.
Yep.
Yeah. And then as he sees her leave in his rear view, he looks forward and ramps up the bike. And the bike itself, let's talk about that real quick. That looks like animated series to me. It's got the ears on it. So he modified the bike at the end. And that was, I thought that was really cool. He's just kind of like racing into the city. Like, here we go. What's up next? Yeah, I definitely like the detective skills being played off of. Never really, done that before. I mean, it has been done, but not as much as this. And he was mostly Batman in the film, so that was great too.
They touched on it a bit in The Dark Knight, but I think it was mostly Alfred using his skills.
And Lucius Fox,
more so than Bruce Wayne, but.
Yeah, that'll be interesting too if Lucius Fox will even be in this universe.
Yeah, I would think they'd have to like flesh out Wayne Enterprises and all that a little bit more.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
Probably
mystery there.
they'll probably get to that in the second one.
Yeah,
Probably show Bruce Wayne taking a more active role.
right.
But man, just not enough good that I can say about this movie.
No, yeah, it was very well made, and it's yeah. All I ask is, they've gotten Batman down pretty damn good, right? It's a home run again for Warner Brothers. I just hope they don't decide like they did before after Dark Knight came out. They all got to be, oh, we got to do Superman like this now. I think they should definitely do this formula with characters that deserve it. And they need to figure out, they need to make us finally and I liked Man of Steel, but I'm talking about a Superman movie that hits on all cylinders.
Batman's always worked as a dark character.
Right.
Superman's always been that good old boy from Kansas.
Yes.
So, I mean, you don't need to, like, put him in a blender.
Right.
And come out with something to fit in line with this. Like, it would be interesting to see, like, how like Metropolis contrasts with Gotham in this franchise, but I don't think we necessarily need that. Like, there's been a lot of speculation with this. Like, well, where does Superman exist in this universe? Like,
right?
I don't think it really needs to. I mean, I think it's fine the way it is. Like,
it's going back to the Nolan type of universe. It seems anyway.
And not only that, but it's going back to like some of the better Batman stories through the comics.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, you don't need I don't think you necessarily need to shut out other possibilities, but if you just tell stories about Gotham, what's happening there. Once you introduce like other heroes, it gets into that like, well, why can't they help Batman with these things, Because that would have been the Dark Knight thing, right? Or Dark Knight Rises. Like, well, Superman could have just flown that bomb away, but they never introduced Superman in that world. So I don't know. Some of the Nolan-isms that you could say are back and redefined even better than what he did, but you still needed him to get there. But I still would prefer a marriage of the two, little fantasy, or not fantasy, but supernatural type of deal. Bigger universe, but also grounded in Gotham itself.
Well, and I think you can do that too. The more involved you see Bruce Wayne becoming with Wayne Enterprises, like, oh, hey, we have this huge R&D department. Let's use it for some good.
Yes,
kind of thing. Like,
let's give the cops some blimps, like the animated series.
Exactly. Maybe you can touch on that a little bit more once, Wayne Enterprises is more established.
That would be cool.
It would make more sense. But I don't know. I like the way the suit is. I like the fact that the bat symbol itself like pops out and you can use that as a knife.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of speculation about that. Like, is it the gun that shot his parents? Like, I kind of like that theory. But yeah,
I like that theory.
Could be, I guess.
Like it looks like a Beretta that's been melted down.
Yeah, could be.
And it's got like, little flecks of paint off of it. And it's not like he's not like perfect, like he just put on a brand new suit every time he suits up. You see the damage throughout.
Right.
It's kind of cool that way.
There's a couple screen grabs. I'm not sure if they've been altered, but when he's, he gets shot a lot in this film close up and his suit like reflects it. But there's someone got these screen grabs where I think the symbol got shot and it all lit up for a split second. Like the whole knife lit up. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's actually in the movie or someone just kind of, tweaked it. But that's badass if it was in the film. I didn't see it. It'll be interesting how they modify the suit, if it'll get more sleeker or, I mean, I'm sure it will, but it's really a Gotham by gaslight look for him in many ways, especially with the cape and stuff. And I dig it. I think it's pretty cool for this universe.
You can tell like after he does the wingsuit thing and it comes off and he like stands up, he's got, it's almost like fatigues or something like that, like cargo pants.
Yes.
Almost that he's got on. And then he's got like the grappling hook, like strapped to his leg and everything. Like, I don't know. I thought it looked really, really well done.
Yeah, it worked.
For an early Batman. I mean, yeah, of course he's going to improve his gear. That's what Bruce Wayne does in the comics.
Right.
You know, he improves upon his gear, you know, almost
all the
constantly.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the Batmobile will be like used again and more redefined, because it wasn't. He still had it at the end. It didn't get damaged much, so
yeah.
makes you wonder.
I like the Batmobile. It's very very minimalist kind of thing. It wasn't like the Burton Batmobile where he had to have a cable assist to be able to make a right turn.
Yeah.
You
right.
know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you have to go like, you don't have to give him a full on tank or anything like the Tumbler, or,
right.
you know, but I can see him like improving on his stuff in the next one.
Yeah, like maybe
making it a little more closer to the comics and a little less, you know, thrift store.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it can only go up from here, really. I mean, as long as I think keeping it the like borderline PG-13R type of film is the perfect way to do it. I don't think they need to make another Batman film to sell toys.
No, I mean, they do have toys out for this one,
but... except for, you know, older people like us. Yeah. I did see the Riddler figure they came out with, and I'm really tempted to get it because it looks phenomenal.
Yes, it's a shame because Nolan could have definitely given us this type of Riddler in his verse, because if you put him and the Joker from his universe side by side, they look like they're from the same to me.
Yeah.
And I still miss some of the goofiness of him, but I accept this character.
He was still a goofy character in the end.
He was, yeah, especially at the coffee shop, yeah. He's like opening his mouth.
I think it was more so, you know, the comment he made that like, or maybe it was Selena that made it, I don't remember who made it, but that Batman isn't the mask that Bruce Wayne puts on.
Yep.
Bruce Wayne is the mask that Batman puts on.
Right.
Kind of thing, you know. So I think that was a little more like what the Riddler was, and you could see that towards the end when he knew, like, okay, this is pretty much it for me. It's like, thank you all for subscribing. Hit that notification bell.
Yeah. Buy my merch.
Yeah, merch in bio.
Did you think he knew Batman was Bruce Wayne at first when he was talking about Bruce Wayne?
At first I did.
Yeah, I was too. I was like, oh shit.
Wayne.
Yes.
But then it was like, the more he talked, you could, which was really cool for Pattinson, because without like taking a heavy sigh, you could tell he like kind of was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, because he was looking down as he was talking, and then
his eyes, he like got wide, and he like looked at him. He's like, oh, so you don't know who I am? That's cool.
Right. Or does he? Do you think the Riddler was backing off on purpose? Like, you could take it both ways, right? I mean, you kind of could.
Well, I think Bruce Wayne was always intended to be his final target.
Yes. Which, were you thinking they were going to kill Alfred?
I didn't think at any point that Alfred is in mortal danger.
Right. The minute he threw it away from him, I was like, he's good.
Well, not only that, but like you see which I hate that they do stuff like this in the trailers, but I tried to stay away from trailers and stuff as much as possible with this, but the whole "you lied to me, Alfred," like he says that in the trailer when they're in the hospital bed. So it's like, well, obviously he hasn't been in the hospital this entire time.
He's fine.
He's fine. I don't know. There was a couple times where it was you had to kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit, like when Batman gets blown the fuck up. It's like,
yeah, he's like right in the guy's face.
He must have had some really good Kevlar on underneath that suit, but
he's got skin toned where his face exposed at. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, run away.
Yeah.
That was cool. The cops were like, I want to see who he is. And he like freaks out, like, get off me. And then, Gordon's like, I need minutes alone with him I'll get him to talk, or I'll get him to cooperate, whatever. And he's just,
and he's like,
I need you out of here. I'm going to take this key.
Take my key and hit me.
Yeah. Right. And then later he goes, thought you're going to pull your punches. He's like, I did. Yeah, that was cool how they met elsewhere with the signal. That was pretty neat how they did that.
Yeah.
I liked all the choices. You know, it was very different. But yeah, the other films are still as good. It's like this one's just, you know, it's perfected it, you know, again, just like Nolan did. He's perfected.
Yeah.
Reeves has perfected the Batman.
I think really like the Batman is a lot like James Bond. You know, you do 2 or 3 movies, you take some time off from it, let somebody new come in and put their spin on it.
Right.
As long as it's not Joel Schumacher. Love of God, stay away. But yeah, I really am excited to see where this goes, and I think Matt Reeves has got his finger on the pulse, and it's just he knows exactly what's going on.
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm super excited to see what else he does with the character.
Oh, same. I will say before we go, and of course, if you have any final thoughts too, I think Pattinson was on Jimmy Kimmel and was talking about the audition process. And if you look back at the Nolan trailer or Nolan DVDs or behind the scenes, Bale and, what's his face? Cillian Murphy. They when they auditioned, they wore the old suits. Like they wore Kilmer's suit, I think, his first suit, or it might have been his second suit. But with Pattinson, when he auditioned, so like basically they have these suits because it's Warner Brothers. They have all the old suits, and they're deteriorating still because, you know, some of them, I mean, they're super old, right? So anyway, Pattinson had to get fitted like in what they already had just to audition to get the look, you know. So he ended up using Kilmer's. Kilmer's was the best fit for him, the suit from Forever, and Clooney's cowl. So they Frankensteined it basically. I love to see that test footage. I'm sure they'll put it out on the DVD maybe eventually, but
yeah,
there's also word that they shot more of the Joker. Like Batman saw him in Arkham, kind of like a Silence of the Lambs. How he, you know, they go to the person in jail to figure out how they can catch the current psycho out there. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I did hear that there was more footage shot of the Joker, so we'll see if that's a thing.
I think that would kill the mystique of the character.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. If they did that, I'm glad they didn't show it. Honestly, I would have been fine not even seeing the Joker at all, just a shadow like we first saw. I thought that would have been good enough.
Yeah, I could have done with just hearing the laugh and being like, "Oh my God, that's the Joker."
Yeah,
you know, but
it's kind of a cartoony laugh. I mean, if I'm nitpicking, you know, it wasn't really something I was like, eh. But I guess he's fucking crazy, so it makes sense.
That's okay, though, because I still think that Mark Hamill had the best Joker laugh.
Yeah. We'll just dub his laugh in there.
Yeah. My final thought on this, the same thing has been said about every single person that has ever played Batman. Everyone said, like, oh, no, they're not going to be good in it. I was skeptical about Robert Pattinson as well. But I think every single person that's played Batman has exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of Clooney, but that wasn't really his fault.
No, script.
Robert Pattinson is phenomenal. He's perfect in this role.
Yeah, he did a good job.
He did a very good job. The movie is more about his portrayal of Batman than it is his portrayal of Bruce Wayne. Like, Bruce Wayne's hardly in the film.
Right, which is refreshing. I'm kind of tired of seeing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I don't want to see my superheroes running the company. I want to see them beating up bad guys.
Right. Yep.
But he did tremendous job with this.
Mm-hmm.
He did a tremendous job. You can tell he really put in the work. He really studied the character, and I really hope he sticks with it.
Oh yeah.
I hope they don't Affleck his ass, because
no.
That would suck.
They've made way too much money. It's not happening at this point.
Yeah, definitely my top 3 favorite Batman. Portrayals. So
yeah,
that's another list we could get into in another podcast sometime. But I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah,
I'm just going to leave it there. The film is in my top 3. The portrayal of Batman is in my top 3, and it's definitely, if you haven't seen it, go see it in the theaters first while it's in the theaters, if nothing else, because of the soundtrack and the just absolute quality of this film.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's
5 out of 5 stars.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, 5 out of 5. I dug it. I dug every minute of it.
Yeah,
It didn't feel long.
it really didn't. It really didn't. It felt like a cop drama.
Yeah.
In places, but like the movie Seven,
Yes.
for example, like that couldn't have been a hour and a half long movie.
No.
Like there was a reason why it was long, because they had to flesh out the hunt for the killer.
Yes.
Kind of thing. So
And that had to be twists and turns along the way. Yep.
Yep. So they did that phenomenally well in this movie. So great job, everybody involved.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I hope they keep it going. Hope they give us a follow up soon. The TV series on HBO Max, those are going to help a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Filling the gap between the years here, because it'll probably be a couple years, I imagine, till they start shooting again, and maybe they'll do the second and third back to back. I'm not sure, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I think that's what his goal is to do a trilogy. I really think anyone who tackles the Batman wants to create a different world, or
oh yeah,
should get a trilogy. I think a trilogy is a nice, and I guess just 2 films too, because a third or second sequels are usually tough to pull off. And I actually thought Nolan, of all people, would have figured that out. But man, I don't want to go back to Rises too much. I mean, it has its moments, but yeah, that was a letdown for me.
Yeah.
So hopefully Matt Reeves, I think he knows how to do this pretty well. He did the last 2 Planet of the Apes films, so he did close off a trilogy. So I have a lot of faith in him. Yep, this is great, and I hope they keep it up. I hope they don't make every killer or every villain very similar. Maybe he can still be detective when there's not like murders happening. Perhaps just crimes go into that maybe a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure we'll all be surprised. Maybe. Well, go see this film, everyone, and see it again, and then buy it and all that jazz. There's some cool toys out there, too. The car, it's out there. Many forms of it. So, it was good. It was good. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. And, of course, we will return. I'm Josh.
I'm Bill.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.